Welcome to Office 2013 video number 1. In this series of 1 to about 50 videos, we're going to cover Windows Explorer, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and Access. We're going to be using the operating system Windows 7. Most businesses still use Windows 7. However, some of you might have Windows 8. There will be some differences when we look at Windows Explorer and Save As. But otherwise, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and Access won't really be affected by what operating system you have. Hey, and this is not a Mac class. The sad news is that forever, Office for Mac and Office for the PC have been different. So because still, most businesses use PC Office, that's the one we're going to teach here. All right, I'm going to close this here. Here is the desktop. Down here we have the taskbar. Now, even in Windows 8, you can get to the desktop by using the keyboard Window D. Now, where is the Window key? You got to find it on your keyboard. It's between Ctrl and Alt. Window D will show you the desktop. This is the taskbar down here. We have shortcuts. In all my videos, I'm going to have the program that I use for doing screen capture open, so those will be open. We can click on the shortcut for the executable program, Excel, Word, Access. We could have lots of shortcuts on the taskbar. For example, we don't have PowerPoint. Well, we could go to the Start button and then click on PowerPoint, and that would open. If we wanted to add something from here or from the All Programs list, and then I could go here. I'm going to click Escape to go back. If I found a particular program I wanted to add to the taskbar, I could say right-click, Pin to Taskbar. And there we have our PowerPoint. Now, the Start button allows you to go to Programs, also allows you to go to the Control panel. In Windows 8, there's no Start button. Instead of a Start button, you have to go to the Start screen and then open up one of the tiles. There's tiles for Word, Excel, and other what they call apps. So if you have Windows 8, no Start button, you actually hit the Windows key, and then it opens up the Start screen. All right, so in this video, we're using Windows 7, Office 2013. We're going to look at Windows Explorer, talk about file management, and then we're going to open up Excel and Word and look at ribbons and toolbars. All right, we got to learn a new keyboard shortcut. Windows Explorer is a program that allows us to do file management. The keyboard to open it, Window E. I'm going to hold the Window key and tap the letter E. Windows Explorer. Two sides, left, right. The left shows us the hierarchical structure of our computer, all of our drives and folders. On the right, it shows you whatever's inside the selected drive or folder. So computer is selected. I see what's inside. Now, if I click on Main Video Storage, instantly I can see everything inside. The beauty of Windows Explorer is I select a particular drive or folder. I can come over and do file management. I can delete. I can copy. I can open. I can move. I can create a folder. I could delete, even back up. Now, I want everyone to put in their jump drive. I put in my jump drive, and it's called Lexar E. The letter that shows up for your drive is different depending on which computer you have. If you open up Windows Explorer and then put your jump drive in, it will appear. Sometimes the metal on the jump drive, when you put it in, doesn't quite connect. Pull it out and put it in again. Now, the proper way, once you get it in, to remove it, and there's a few ways to do this, is in Windows Explorer to right-click Eject. But watch this. Here, I click on it, and I can see that there's one folder called Old inside of it. Now, in this video, we're just going to look at Windows Explorer and a little bit about Word and Excel. Later, 2 videos ahead, we'll create an entire hierarchical structure of folders. So let me give you an example of that. If I come over and use, not clicking on the drive, but use the triangles, I can expose on the left what is inside. Now I come over here and I want to go to Video Excel Storage. So I'm clicking on that triangle and instantly indented, I can see a bunch of different folders. So I've organized all of the videos I shoot. Down here, this is 216, so I click on the triangle. I see there's videos for an earlier version and the ones I'm shooting right now. So I click on this. I see there is a storage for Office 2013 and each one of the different sections for our classes. When I click on the arrow for Windows Explorer, I can see there's a folder for handouts, start files, and homework. So I'm going to click on this Windows Explorer, and you can see there's a bunch of stuff inside. Now, again, we'll create a system of folders like this, and we'll even learn some fast way to create a lot of folders like that. All right, so everyone put their jump drive in. And now we want to do some basic create a folder, name it, create two files, name them, and save them to that folder. All right, so I'm going to come over. The location that I want to create my folder is the Lexar E. So now I come over to the right. Let's say you have no idea where or how to create a new folder. Now this will be helpful over in Word and Excel. You're like, you have no idea how to do something. Try right-clicking the thing you want to do something to, and usually the context-sensitive menu will give you some options. So what do I want to do something to? I want to do something to the actual space inside of that drive. So I come over to the space and right-click. I can do all sorts of things in this context-sensitive menu. There's New and Folder. Now, right-click New Folder is kind of silly in this particular version, Windows 7 and Windows 8, because there's actually, I'm going to click Escape, Escape, a New Folder button. But that right-click trick will come in very handy. I'm going to click on the New Folder. When I click New Folder, it's polite. It's not highlighting the whole folder. It's highlighting just the name of the folder. Now, why is that polite? Because it's saying, hey, please rename me. Now, in this class, everything we create, folders, files, Excel tables, Access tables, Excel worksheets, everything, we're going to give it a smart name. None of this new folder or document 1 or workbook 1. This is just our first day fun. So I'm going to say first day fun. Now I've typed first day fun. In fact, I'm going to make it even a little bit better. I'm going to take my cursor and click at the beginning. Now there's a faster way to do that, and this will be helpful in Word and PowerPoint and Excel. If you have a line, either in a cell in Excel or a line in Word or PowerPoint, you can jump to the beginning by hitting the Home key. You can jump to the end by hitting the End key. So I'm going to click Home and then type Business 216. Now I want to register this name, so I hit Enter. Now I would like to put a folder inside of this. So how do I do this? Now look at this over here. I've selected Lexar E and it shows me everything, but I can expose everything with my triangle. So I don't want to double click. That's in the old versions when we had My Documents. You had to double click and then double click and then double click to dig down to the right folder. In Windows Explorer, just use your triangles to expose, and when you find the location you want, then you click on it and you can look inside. Now, if our goal is to put a folder inside of a folder, once the folder is selected on the left, then we come over to the right. All right, now we're going to learn there is a new folder, and we could right click, but I got to show you something even faster. And later when you're creating 30 or 40 folders, this rules. Now we're going to learn more about Alt, the ALT key, when we get over to Excel and Word. However, we want to learn a cool trick in Windows Explorer. Now I want to look up here in this little toolbar, Organize, Share with, New Folder. All right, now what happens when I hit the Alt key? No way. The File menu pops up. Now Windows Explorer in Windows 7 still has a menu. Most of the Office programs have ribbons, and we'll talk about those in just a moment. But check this out. What letter is underlined? It's F. So if you want to invoke File menu, hit F. Now that was in succession. I hit the Alt and then the F. I didn't hold them. It's not like a Control key where I Control C, hit Alt, then F. Now, what do I have to hit to get to new W? What do I have to hit to get to folder F? Now, I'm not going to hit it. I want to consider what we did. That means we had to hit 4 keys in succession. How is that going to be faster than new folder button? It is. If you are day in and day out making folders, then Alt FWF. That is much faster than taking your mouse and dragging it up to new folder. Now, we're going to name this. This is a folder inside of Business 216. I'm going to call this Excel Files. Enter. And now Alt FWF. Word Files. You can have spaces or not. The only reason why I tend to have the convention is because a lot of files and folders I create are part of websites, and in web addresses you can't have spaces. I can already see I broke my convention over here. I'm going to click on the Lexar, and remember Windows Explorer, I click on the left and then I can do something to whatever's over here. In this case I want to rename it, so it's highlighted. I'm going to hit F2, F2, and then get rid of that space. It doesn't matter for us. This isn't going to be part of a website, but that tends to be the convention I follow. Now, I'm going to, whoa, I already can see over here, I clicked on the triangle, and I can see my 2 folders. It's as if I've created this cool little system of folders. So now, I'm going to click on Business 216. I can see on the right the 2 folders. Now, again, about these, the new folder and the Alt key, it takes a while, and we'll see throughout this class, things like page setup or pivot tables that we just do over and over again, then the keyboards tend to be faster. All right, now we need to create an Excel file, a Word file, and save them. So, and in the process, we're going to look at just an introduction to the ribbons and the toolbars. All right, so on the taskbar, I'm going to click on the shortcut to open up Excel. So open up Excel. Now this is called the Backstage View. When you open it, there are some recent files, and this will appear in Word and PowerPoint also. And there's a blank workbook. Let's go ahead and click this blank workbook. All right, I'm just going to type my first file. It's in cell A1, and I'm going to hit Enter. Now we got to talk about the difference between Save As and Save. And we'll talk about Backstage View. File, there's a bunch of ribbons. We'll look at those in just a moment. But check this out. When I have the home ribbon selected, I can see the actual features, icons and buttons to click, and the spreadsheet. But watch this when I click on File, Backstage. Microsoft thinks, well, hey, all of these actions right here are to the whole file, so they take up the whole Backstage. Info, there's some things here. There's some information about this file. You could protect it. You could actually create a password. So only if you knew the password could you open this file. I'm going to click Escape. New, there's our blank workbook. I'm going to click Open. By the way, new, we can use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-N to open up a new file, and that works almost in any program, Excel, Word, PowerPoint. Open, Ctrl-O will open up the dialog box. But let's notice something here. This is 2013, and this will be true in Word and PowerPoint also. In earlier versions, if you did the Open menu, you could click on a button and it would open up the Open dialog box. But watch this. The default for 2013 is they think you're going to use SkyDrive. And that's fine. SkyDrive is great. It is a location on a Microsoft computer. You have a Microsoft account, and you can save your files to SkyDrive. We're not going to do that. But watch this. If I want to save it to my jump drive, I have to click Computer, and then I have to come over and click Browse. 2 clicks, and then it opens up this Open dialog box. Now, I will, if we ever open from Word or Excel or PowerPoint, I would use Control-O. Control-O to avoid those 2 clicks. Now let's go back to Open. I clicked Escape to close the dialog box because Open has some other good stuff. Recent workbooks. Now, if you have a workbook that you're working on and then you go to this Open here, there's a bunch of recent workbooks. Down at the bottom, there's this recover unsaved workbooks, and it's in Word and PowerPoint also. So sometimes if your computer crashes and you need to find that autosave, there it is. All right, so open. Save, we're never going to use this ever. We're going to use Ctrl S. Save as, we're never going to use that. We're going to use F12, and we will learn some powerful tricks for save as. You know, everyone thinks, oh, save as, that's just save as. No way. We can create PDFs. We can create websites. We can save it to no location. We'll learn all about that. Print, we will get to this dialog box using Control P. Share, if under Account you set up your SkyDrive, your YouTube, your Facebook, you can share directly your files to those locations. We're not going to do that. Export, we're not going to use that because we're going to learn a better trick for saving as PDF. Close, you can use the red X or Alt F4. Alt F4 is the keyboard shortcut for close. Account options, we will have to see from time to time in Excel and Word. Options are great. You have a bunch of places you can go and change the default settings. All right, so Backstage View will be similar in all of the versions. Now ribbons, the home ribbon, well, there's a bunch of great buttons here. They're organized into groups. So clipboard, font, alignment, number. In Word, there'll be similar groups. We can click on different tabs in the ribbon and get different groups. You can click on the icons. Sometimes if you go like to page layout, there's a bunch of great features right in the ribbon, but there's something called a dialog launcher, and we'll learn about dialog launchers later. The dialog launcher opens up the dialog box that has a lot more options and features than the ribbons. I'm going to click Escape to close that. All right, so we have a bunch of ribbons. There's a ribbon that you do not have, or actually in our class we have it, but you may or may not have it in your ribbon. That comes with only some versions of Office 2013 Excel. If you want to customize the ribbon or the quick access toolbar, if you right-click, there's our right-click trick. I don't know how to customize the ribbon, but if I right-click, the context-sensitive menu says, I would like to customize the ribbon. Now, this is important because there's some ribbons like the developer ribbon that are not shown. You could click that, click OK. We're not going to go into customizing the ribbon, but it's not too hard. But nevertheless, I could at least show the developer when I click OK, and there's developer. We're not going to use that in this class. In my advanced Excel class, we'll use it. That's for creating macros or recorded code. All right, now the quick access toolbar. This can be at the top or the bottom. I'm going to use our trick. Right click. I don't know how to customize the QAT or the quick access toolbar. Remove, well, that will remove the button. Customize, we'll look at that in just a moment. How about show access toolbar below the ribbon? You could do that. I don't like to do that because it uses up some space, so I'm going to right click and show it at the top above. The QAT, quick access toolbar, right click. I love this. We can customize the quick access toolbar. And the cool thing about this, a lot of people like to have a toolbar. Not only that, there are some features that are flat out hard to have a keyboard shortcut for. So the trick is you build your toolbar with all the things you want. And here it is. Popular, forget that. You want all. And then there it is. Word, PowerPoint, Excel, every single feature you can scroll through. If you want to jump to page, you click in the list and hit a P, and it jumps to the beginning of the Ps. Now, throughout the class, we may add a few buttons. It's as simple as finding the alphabetical listed button, click Add, click, well, let's, I'm going to say Pen, click Add, there it is, and then click OK. Now, I don't really need that one, so I'm going to come up here and remove from Quick Access Toolbar. That's the complete list. And if you really want to find even features that are not in the ribbon, that's the method. But watch this. If you do font color all the time, you can simply right-click any one of these buttons in the ribbon and add to Quick Access Toolbar. Now, what's the advantage to that? Let's say you're always doing data analysis or whatever other tab. Notice to get to font, you'd have to go back to home and then click. But what's true about that QAT up there, as I click through the ribbon tabs, it's always showing. All right, so it's easy to modify. Now, I want to show you one more thing about ribbons. I'm going to type numbers, and I'm going to do a silly keyboard that we'll learn later in Excel. Ctrl F1, and it makes the default chart. We'll learn that later. Whoa, wait a second. My ribbons are supposed to look like this. There's many objects like charts or pictures or other objects that have context-sensitive ribbons. So those ribbons only show up when you have the object selected. Pivot tables will have context-sensitive ribbons also. Now, one other point about the ribbons. If I point to the edge and drag this window in, watch what happens to the buttons. Oh, they're changing. Actually, if we go and I click on the home ribbon, right? Oh, we have some typical buttons here. You can see that merge and center even though it's grayed out. But if I drag this in, watch what happens to it. It becomes a little icon. So this will happen. The ribbon changes when you change the width of the window. Also, if you change the screen resolution. So I'm going to go look at the desktop and how to change the screen resolution. The keyboard to show the desktop or minimize all windows is Window D. Also, Window M does the same thing. If I were to right-click Screen Resolution, there we have, I can change the resolution. This will change the way the ribbon works also. I'm going to click Escape, Escape. Let's go back over to Excel. All right, so a couple more things here. We talked about the ribbons in the QAT. Down here, this is a Sheet tab. I'm going to name the Sheet tab by double-clicking it and saying, I'm going to call it something like Test 1. Enter. So again, we're always going to name things instead of leaving them the default. We also need to name our workbook. We'll do that in just a second. This is called the title bar. I have the QAT in my title bar over here. I have the title. I have some icons over here. Now, this is Help. This button right here, if I click, we can either show tabs and commands or show just the tabs. If I click Show Tab, oh, look, the icons in the ribbon are hidden, but the tabs are showing. I could go back up here, Show Tabs and Commands. I never do that. The keyboard, so Control F1, Control F1. It's a toggle to show and hide. Why would you want to hide them? Because sometimes you need more space for your spreadsheet. All right, so the title bar up here, this is the minimize. This sends it down to the taskbar. I can click on this and open it. This will maximize and then restore down to whatever size the window you last had it. And that, of course, is the close. There's the status bar down here. Now, the status bar will give us a zoom. We'll learn that the keyboard for zoom is to hold Control and roll the wheel. That keyboard is great because Control and roll the wheel to zoom works in Word, PowerPoint, websites, all over the place. But there's the zoom. There's view. You can get different views over in Word and PowerPoint. Also, you can have different views. But watch this. This green area right here. Watch what happens when I highlight some data. Whoa, some quick calculations show up. The average is 3. The count is 3. The numerical count is 3. The min is 2. The max is 2. Wow, so that's pretty cool. Status bar will do some other different things in Word, like show you what page you're on. OK. Now, we've learned about ribbons, QATs, and some other things, Backstage View. But what we never did is we never saved it. We want to talk about the difference between save and save as. All right, so this file, which is an Excel workbook file, we'll talk all about the Excel files later. But notice it has book 1. We don't want to save this and leave it book 1. We want to give it a good name. Now, because this file has never been saved, the command save and save as will both do the same thing. So watch this. I'm going to Control S. That's the keyboard for save. Whoa, it actually opens up to save as. Escape. Now I'm going to use the keyboard for save as. F12. Now notice F12 takes us straight to our Save As dialog box. But the more important thing is, why did, and I'm going to click Escape, why did Control S open up Save As? By the way, we could have gotten to the dialog box by saying Computer and then Browse. But that's a lot of clicks. That's a clear example of how knowing keyboards can be faster than using a mouse. But why did Save open up Save As? Escape, Escape. Because this workbook has never been saved. Excel is being polite. It's saying, hey, tell me where you want to save this and what the name should be before it automatically saves. All right, so I'm going to hit F12. Now, Save As. There's 3 parts to Save As. Where do you want to save it? What do you want to call it? And what file extension or file type is it? All right. So we're not going to save to the default location with a default name. Many computer users around the world have lots of book ones and document ones in My Documents. Forget it. We have the power. I'm going to come over here to the left. Looks just like Windows Explorer. I can scroll down. I can expose with my triangle. And then I can expose with my triangle, get to the folder I want. Where do you want to save it? I want to save it to my Excel files folder. Now I'm going to come down to File Name and click. And I'm going to type a useful name. My first Excel file in Business 216. All right, so what do you want to call it? There's my file name. Now, Save As Type. Notice it says Excel Workbook. Some of your computers might not show this file extension, and I will show you in just a couple minutes how to change that, because you want to be able to see file extensions. This file extension is useful because there's so many. Sometimes you just can't tell unless you show your extensions. This extension will show in the Save As dialog box, the Open dialog box, Title bar in Programs, Windows Explorer, so it's very useful. Now, file extensions. We will see lots of great uses throughout the class. You can save as a PDF. You could save as a web page. Now, the default before 2007 was .xls, just like the default for Word before 2007 was .doc, but 2007 later they changed it to X and M. And the reason they did this is M means macro. That means any file, whether it's XLSM or DOCM, means you can have written code in it. So they broke it apart. They wanted people to know, yes, there might be code. No, there wouldn't. So the X means you can't write code. M means you can write code. We're never going to write code in this class, but that's an important distinction. All right, I'm going to select .xlsx. Where do you want to save it? That folder there will do. What do you want to call it? We named it. And what file extension? The 3 parts. I'm going to click the Save button. All right, so now we can see up here in the title bar, there's our file name. Now, I'm going to close this and immediately go to Windows Explorer and look, verify that it actually saved to the right place. I'm going to use my triangles. I'm going to use my triangles. I'm using my triangles. I'm going to click on the folder I want to look inside. I come over to the right, and there it is. Now we're going to use Windows Explorer to open this. Double click, or you can hit Enter if it's selected. And there's our file. Now let's type something. I changed the file. Now when I Control S, all it does is save any changes. So if I close this and then open it, I could see that the changes were saved. Now, there's lots of different uses for Save As. For example, if I hit F12, let's say I want to start writing code here. I could change it to .xlsm. Or I wanted to send this to someone who didn't have 2007 or later version. I would want to convert it to this file type here, .xls. So now, Save As. Where do you want to say, well, wait a second, I can't see it. You can also see it up here in the address bar. I can see it's got the right location there. There's the name. The only thing I'm changing is the file extension. So my question to you is, what happens? Will this change the file, or will it create a second file? I'm going to click Save. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to save it. It thinks I need to save it again. Save As creates a second file. All right. Now, let's open Word. I'm going to click on the shortcut for Word. I'm going to restore down just real quick, I'm going to accept the blank document. I'm going to hit Enter. And then I'm going to type something. I'm going to hit F12. I'm going to definitely direct it to the location I want. I'm going to go down to my Lexar. I'm scrolling down using my wheel. I'm going to select that folder with the triangles. Finally, I have my destination folder. Where do you want to save it? I'm going to call it my first Word file, business 216. And I'm going to accept the default file extension for .docx. Again, I'll show you in just a moment in Windows or how to show that on your computer if you can't see it. I'm going to click Save. All right, now I'm going to close this. If I click down here, I can see I actually got it to the right place. Now, how do we show these file extensions? These are so important. How do you know if a picture from your computer what file extension? Is it a PGN? Is it a JPEG? How do you know what movie file? Is it an MOV or some other file? How do you know which type of Word document this is? Now, you can, if you come over to this Excel file on the left and click on it, you can see there's slightly different icons. But it's very important to see this explicit extension here, at least most of the time. All right, so how do you show that? If you're in Windows Explorer, you can simply go to Organize, Folder, and Search Options. Now, this is the Folders Options dialog box. I'm going to click Escape. You can also go to the Start, and then Control Panel, and then Folder Options. Now, if you happen to be in Windows 8, and this class is not for Windows 8, there's no Start button. So you can hit the Window key and simply, after you hit the Window key, type Control Panel and Enter, and it will open up the Control Panel. All right, so let's do it. I'm going to go to Fastway since I have this open, Folder, Search Options. Then you go to View, and one of the more silly default settings for computers when they're installed is hide extensions for known file types. You got to uncheck this. If this is checked, you will not see those file extensions. I'm going to uncheck it. Click Apply, click OK. And so there you go. All right, so in this video, we talked about Windows Explorer. We talked about creating a folder. We talked a little bit about ribbons and toolbars and Backstage View in an introduction to Word and Excel. In our next video, we'll talk specifically about file management. We'll do a few more things using Windows Explorer. All right, see you next video.